Hey there, it's James with Make It Happen Greenhouse and Carps Bees. And today, what we are going to do is we are going to transplant, or actually pot, our Carolina Reaper sprouts that we started in on a piece of paper towel. And the sprouts now, as maybe you can see there in the camera, have done a pretty good job of coming out of the seeds. I was really worried that these seeds might not be viable just because of the way I stored them, but they certainly came through. So it's now time to go ahead and take the moist paper towel out of the plastic baggie, cut away as much of the paper as we can, and move these into some starter pots. So what you need for this project is your sprouts that you probably started in some kind of seed bag. And then you'll need some styrofoam cups, some water. You'll also need some scissors, a marking pen, something to poke holes into half the cups you're going to use, and we'll demonstrate that in a minute, and then some dirt. So I prefer to use indoor only sterilized potting soil. You don't want any bugs flying around in your house. So this is the equipment that you'll need. What this will do is this will get us a real huge head start on the season. These sprouts, as you can see from the date on the bag, were started on the 24th of January. Here we are today on the 7th of February. We're going to get these sprouts turned into seedlings in these little tiny pots, and we'll put those in our indoor grow tent and allow those to get to a pretty decent size before we end up transferring them out to the greenhouse once the weather is stable and a little warmer. So there you have it. And what I use for starter pots are just styrofoam cups. You can get them at the dollar store, 45 for $1. And what you want to do is use 2 per plant. And what you're going to do is take something to poke holes in the bottom of one of the cups. That's a fun noise. So I do 4 holes in the bottom. And the pot with the holes, or the cup with the holes, is actually where you're going to put the dirt in, put the sprout in, and then you'll take one without holes and do that, and you'll water this, and that'll allow water to build up in here without spilling all over the place, and it'll actually keep the soil pretty moist without causing any kind of rot, in your roots or anything like that. These aren't going to stay in these pots for very long, probably a couple months before we go ahead and transplant them into bigger pots and move them out to the greenhouse when it becomes warmer. Again, it's February 7th today, so we're having, we had a recent snowstorm. We've had some very cold temperatures at night, but we're having warmer temperatures during the day. So it's that time of year when, Mother Nature is trying to fool you into thinking you can get everything rolling. But this is a way to cheat Mother Nature a little bit, because we're going to do all this stuff indoors inside a grow tent. And then again, once the weather's a little more stable, we'll move it out to the greenhouse. So let me just walk you through this a little bit. All right. So first thing is we got to get our seeds out of the bag. And I'm not going to reuse these bags or anything, so I just kind of tear away the plastic. So we have a nice little surface to look at there. And then I just grab a box full of potting. So I'm going to set this aside just to make sure you can see for the moment. Don't want to make a big mess. By the way, put something down to catch any of the dirt. You're certainly going to get your hands dirty, and there's chance for spills and things. So put a towel down or some kind of tablecloth, something to catch the debris that you can just maybe chuck into the laundry when you're all done here. So, but anyway, just a quick examination of our paper towel. With the sprouts on there, those are looking really great. And this germination rate looks like it's not 100%, but it's probably 80 to 90%. And that's way more than I thought we would get from these Carolina Reapers. And the reason for that was just the way that I stored the seeds. I thought that maybe they wouldn't be viable, but it turns out they are. So, all right. So to get started here, the first thing we want to do is go ahead and prep one of these pots. So again, the one with the holes in it, again, use something to poke 4 holes in there. We're going to grab some dirt. I say dirt, but we're really talking potting soil here. And again, I highly recommend that you use indoor sterilized potting soil. Don't grab the stuff for outdoor garden beds and things like that, because what that's going to have, no matter how hard or what they promise, it's going to have some kind of bugs. The worst being fungus gnats or little gnats that end up showing up, and then you have gnats all over your house, and it is near impossible to get rid of them without starting over. So just a little tip there that I learned. Then you're going to go ahead and take the one without holes and put that in the bottom of that. So nest those together. Get some water. And this potting soil has been sitting around for a bit, so it is extremely dry. I do have a little plastic spoon here that I can try to mix this up. I'm going to do each one of these in the pots themselves, only because I only had this paper box here, and I don't want the paper box to get too wet. But we're going to end up adding quite a bit of water here. There's lots of room to absorb this. And there are a couple ways you could do this. You can prep maybe a whole set of these versus doing them one at a time. But just for demonstration purposes here, again, I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm just going to do one so you see how it goes. And we'll leave it at that. Spoon, it works great. Sometimes a knife's a little better, but honestly, sometimes I just start using my hands and fingers to get it all mixed up. And again, this potting soil is pretty dried out, so I want to make sure we mix it up pretty good. You can see that. And then we'll just push it in, set that aside. Just trying to get the soil to absorb this water. And initially here, anyway, you don't want a lake of water in here. You just want it to be pretty moist. You really can't go too wrong with too much water. And after the water is absorbed into the soil, the level of the soil might drop down a little bit, and you might want to add just a little bit more. Or if you really do think it's too soupy and wet, you could add just a little more. That's what we'll do. See, making a mess, which that's part of the fun. Just get it in there. And again, this was some leftover potting soil from last season, so it really had a chance to dry out. So it's taken a little extra effort to get this moisture back into it, but that's okay. Okay. So that's kind of what you want there, that consistency, kind of like, I don't know, it's not quite pudding, I would say, but just nice and firm. No real standing water on top, but nice and wet. So then what we want to do is just kind of eyeball our paper towel here and look for a decent size sprout. And there's lots of ones to choose from here. And then what I do is I just get a pair of cheap scissors here and look in the light kind of. And just a note here, the one thing you don't want to do is cut any piece of the plant. So I can see here that there are some leaves going down to the actual seed, and then there's a root going straight down from that. So I'm pretty sure where I'm cutting here is going to be good. I'm going to get this one out of here and then I'll show you. All right. So there you go. And then you have a couple options here. You can, I actually should have brought a little spray bottle. Sometimes that helps, but you can just dab your finger and get this a little wet. But I generally, what I do is I pull, because I put these seeds between 2 layers of paper towel. Sometimes I use just napkins. You just want to kind of separate. Woo! paper towel, and away from the leaf is what you want to do. The root part could just stay in the paper towel. That'll continue to grow down. It'll go right into the soil, but you do want to try to free up the leaf part of this. And this is much tighter. There we go. All right, so you can see I've got a little opening here. You don't want to overhandle it. But now, look what you got. There's your little sprout. There's little leaves there. And I just fold back the paper. And now I can just basically carefully kind of punch a hole here and just press that into the soil. Kind of get that soil up over the paper. That paper will just, compost away. And that's it. You don't have to do much more than that. And if you leave the paper on the root, what it does is it gives it a little bit of stability. You're not disrupting the root, which is really a bad thing to do. You separate the paper from the leaf. That lets the leaf get more light, and now it's exposed to be able to grow a little bit faster and better. So there we go. First Carolina Reaper seedling of the season. So the last thing that I do, and normally I would do a bunch of these and mark, but I'll just do this because we're demoing it here. But I will just label this Reaper with a date that it was potted. And we are on 2/7/22. And there you have it. We'll set this one aside up here. And we'll go ahead and do another one. So that's it. So this time I'm going to fill up a bunch of these and do a bunch at once. And then do be careful if this gets a little too dry, just spritz it with some water from your fingers. That's what I'm going to do, just so we don't accidentally dry out one of our little seedlings. We don't want to do that. So, and then these can just be set aside until we're ready to use them. But we're going to go ahead and prep some more of these little pots. All right. this one is still got the seed casing on the leaves. So we're just going to put this one in just very close to the surface. And let it do its thing. Just treat it like it's basically just emerging. So here's one that's kind of fooled me because my hands are dirty. But look, there it is. A nice root. I'm going to fold that back over the root. Peel it back off of the actual leaf. Tear that away. That actually has a nice, deep, long root. Hopefully that will be a happy plant. Alright, we might not have enough in this batch for all here, but we can go get another bag. Just don't want to miss anything good. So I can hide in here. Alright, I think that's it. Yeah. Alright, that's that. I think we have one in here. So there's a seed, but no sprout. I think this actually does have one though. Look at that. Hard to see at first, just emerging, but we'll go ahead and put that in. Maybe I could have waited just a tad bit longer for these. But you know, I think they'll be okay. We'll find out. Alright. What do we got in here? Any more? Well, I see 3 seeds, 4 seeds. Might be one in here. Okay, so this one doesn't have a leaf yet, but it is sprouting. So we're going to just put it in and let it continue its journey. Let it just grow up normal. Don't mind doing that. Okay, and then there's one more seed in here. I don't know if it's sprouted. So, didn't sprout. Okay. And then that is a sprout. And it hasn't come out of its seed yet, but we will. Or it shall. But we'll go ahead and plant this one too. just let it continue to do its thing. And if any of these fail, we'll just put, we have enough that we can put more, and I have 4 more bags of these, I think. At least 3 more. All right. So we need 2 more, so let's go see what we got. I'll be right back. All right, so I went and got another bag. I do have 4 more of these. There's definitely some sprouts in there, but these could actually go another few days before I pull them out. But I want to go and get 2 of these out. So clean my hands. I'm going to carefully cut away 2 from this, and I think it'll be these 2 right here. And then I'm going to put it all back together. So I don't want to get this dirty, so I'm going to grab a paper towel. Just cover this up. And I think I see my targets here. So, remember I said cheap dollar store scissors? Definitely cheap dollar store scissors. Okay. And just don't cut the root. That's what we really want to be careful not to hit. Okay. If you do, at least pull it. Yeah, see, you've got a little bit of the root there. Just make sure you pull it out. And then we're going to just put a couple dabs of water in here. Keep these guys going. And we'll come back and get these next round. Alright, there we go. Alright. So, here we go. We got our 2 candidates here. They're looking good. So I am gonna just fold that root over. And what we'll do, there we go. Come back for you in a second. And there we go. Hopefully that one will be off to the races. And our last one for tonight. Right. You can see it's right. There we go. Nice. Okay. That turned out really well. All right. It's almost like it's wearing a little napkin diaper over its root. All right, there you have it. So we got, what do we got? We got 6, 12, 13. So we got 13 Carolina Reaper babies. We're going to go ahead and put these in the grow tent and get them going. So I'll take you to the grow tent and we'll show you what we're doing in there. All right, so here's the indoor grow tent that I keep in my basement to start our vegetables, and we actually grow some things over winter. So here you can see I have some lettuce and some onions. There's garlic in there along with some bananas that I've started here for the new season. And then here are the Reaper plants that we have just taken from their sprouts, and now we have our little seedlings here growing up in the styrofoam cups. But in the back there you see I have humidifier that I use. Of course, this is messy like any gardener's greenhouse or grow tent, but messy's good, I guess. So anyway, what we'll do here is we'll go ahead and turn on the LED lights, and I'll show you what that looks like, and you'll see why I'm actually showing you this with the normal light right now, because as soon as I turn these as soon as I turn these grow lights on, it gets hard to see everything. So, but here we go. I'll just go ahead and activate it. All right, so here's what we have in terms of our Carolina Reapers. You know, just showing you that I have some different plants growing in here over winter. These have been going all winter long. The lettuce actually went to seed. The seeds, you know, resprouted again, and this is probably our third round of lettuce from the same initial planting. In the back there, you'll see the humidifier, and then we have up top here, let me turn the camera a bit, you can see a bunch of grow lights that are shining down on these plants, and this will really keep things rolling pretty well. We also have a nice little system up here to filter the air so there's no smell in our basement or anything, but it also just keeps the air circulating in the grow tent here. Once I zip this thing up though, it stays really warm in here, and gives our plants a really good chance to get rolling. So there you go, that's the setup. We'll come back and check on these plants in a few days and see how they're going, and then I'll have a lot of this cleared out next time, because we're gonna have to make room for a lot more little pots to go on all these shelves and stuff. So stay tuned for that. But for now, this is James with Make It Happen Greenhouse, and we'll see you next time.